everybody, this is Jessica from Ashland Public Library in Ashland, Ohio, bringing you fun with food this week. Today I'm going to be doing 3 different Puppy Chows or Muddy Buddies, it depends on what you call it. So let's get started. I'll start with the ingredients. You're just going to need chocolate chips, which I've already melted. We're going to do, I cut the recipe down just to show you in this bowl. But I'll also give the ingredients for the actual recipe, the full size. So 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. We need peanut butter. You can use chunky or regular. I just use the creamy peanut butter. 3¼ cup of that. Those were the chocolate chips that I used. You're also going to need butter, whether it's salted or unsalted. Today I use salted, and vanilla. And then also some powdered sugar, which I have brought my little container from home. And then finally, Chex cereal. I brought corn Chex. You can use rice, it doesn't really matter. I actually didn't realize that the recipe calls for rice Chex Mix, but I bought the wrong kind. Okay, so you'll measure out your chocolate chips, like I said, 1.5 cups, and then you're going to combine that with your chunky peanut butter or your regular peanut butter. Again, I used creamy. So 3¼ cup and 1/4 cup of your butter, and then vanilla. So it says 1 teaspoon. I usually just dump it in until I see fit. And you're gonna put it in a container, which I have here, and I just got it all over my fingers. And then put it in the microwave for 20 seconds at a time, and you're just gonna stir it until it all melts together. Okay, so next you're just gonna dump the melted ingredients onto the Chex Mix. Oh, that looks delicious. And we're just going to stir it around until it coats pretty much all of the Chex Mix. And you have a nice coat all over the cereal. And just to recap, there is 9 cups of Chex Mix cereal in the actual recipe. Obviously, I have half of that since I cut the recipe in half for today's video. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much coated there. Can tell yours, it's okay if there are some pieces that aren't completely coated. It just depends on what you like. And like most of the recipes that I've been doing lately, they're very forgiving. So this, if you mess up a little bit, there's definitely not too big of a mistake that you can make. So in the full recipe, it's going to be 2.5 cups of powdered sugar. And since I cut the recipe in half, I spilled it all over the table. It's not going to be as much as that. So before the chocolate dries too much on the cereal, you kind of want to get that powdered sugar on there, just so I'm making a huge mess. Just so it sticks to the chocolate. Okay, so I did 1/2 cup, and that's going to be my 3/4. All right. So I think it's pretty well mixed there. And you can tell that the powdered sugar is completely coated most of the Muddy Buddies or the Puppy Chow, whichever you call it. And you just let dry for a few minutes. And good to eat. Okay, so for recipe number 2, we're going to use the exact same recipe that we did for the original Muddy Buddies / Puppy Chow. So I have the bowl that I used in the first recipe, all the same ingredients, and you're going to make the Puppy Chow just like the very first recipe. The only extra ingredients you're going to need is, besides Chex Mix or Chex cereal, you're also going to need Golden Graham cereal, and then also mini marshmallows. I'm using a Hershey bar. The recipe calls for a Hershey bar, but you can also use chocolate chips and just throw them in full size as well. So we have the Chex Mix cereal, and I don't know, but I could not find Golden Grahams anywhere in the store. And I used to eat them all the time when I was a kid. So today we're settling with Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They're close to the same. But let me know if anybody finds Golden Graham cereal. So we're just gonna put that in. If you use the original recipe, like in the first Muddy Buddies, you're gonna do 6 cups of Golden Graham cereal along. Okay. So next, you'll need 1 cup of mini marshmallows. I'm just gonna, all right. And then I'll mix those in. Okay, and then last ingredient. This is 1 full-size Hershey bar. I feel like you would need a lot more than 1 full-size. I'm even using 1.5 full-size Hershey bar. And before I opened it, I kind of cracked it up into pieces. So it's really fun, actually, and it gives it a really cute look, like s'mores. So we're just gonna mix all those together so we get the marshmallows and the chocolate throughout, and voila, s'mores Muddy Buddies. Okay, so for our third and final recipe, we're going to do birthday cake Muddy Buddy or Puppy Chow. So a few different ingredients, but basically the same concept with chocolate and then a powder and a couple extra ingredients. So this one actually you don't need butter for. So we're going to start off with, it's called Almond Bark if you're not familiar with it. You can also use white chocolate chips, but it's down the baking aisle, usually more towards the top of the shelf. And they come in big little bars like that. I just keep mine in the jar. So again, Chex cereal, rice or corn, whichever you prefer. And then you're also going to need 1 box of the yellow cake mix. I used golden butter cake mix. And then some of your favorite sprinkles. It doesn't have to be the rainbow kind. I'm just going to be using that today. And I'll go through how much of each ingredient as we get to it. I just don't want my chocolate to melt or to harden. Okay, so again, I cut the recipe in half for you guys just because I'm working on a little bit smaller of a scale. You're going to take the Chex Mix, same concept, melting the almond bark in the microwave for 20 seconds at a time, stirring it as you go. And this is actually really hot, so. And we're just, this is a little bit thicker than like your regular chocolate. And this recipe didn't call for the butter, which I feel like the butter kind of makes the chocolate a little bit more runny to mix it up with. And we're just gonna mix it. So for the recipe, the original recipe, this recipe calls for 10 cups of cereal, where the other one's called for 9, and then 10 squares of the almond bark. So lots of goodies. Okay, so I have mixed the almond bark all together so it kind of covers the Chex cereal like so. And it's not going to cover as well, I'm finding out, as the chocolate. But that's okay because all the good cake batter. Again, I'm going to cut this in half This recipe says 1.5 cups of yellow cake mix. So we're just gonna do 3/4 of a cup like. Sounds good to me. Mix that in a little bit, and then we're going to add the sprinkles in. And I'm not even going to tell you how many sprinkles to do because definitely too many is not a thing. Okay, let's mix this together. All right, I think it's time to try it. That's what it looks like. All the cute little rainbow sprinkles. That's pretty good, guys. Well, thanks for joining me for Muddy Buddies 3 different ways. I hope you got some really good recipes, and hopefully you'll join us next time. Thanks.